Hello, thank you for joining. I'll get started in just a minute. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to today's webinar where I'm going to talk to you about custom views within Workbooks. My name is Casper, and for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm a part of the support team. I'm joined by my colleague Heather, who will be monitoring the questions and will be on hand for any technical issues in the background. They may respond to you while I'm talking. As some of you may be aware, we're currently running a series of webinars. Thank you to those of you which have joined previous sessions. I hope you're able to gain some useful tips or skills which have helped you so far. For those who may be joining for the first time, we're running this series of webinars every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. If you have missed any of the previous sessions, these can be found on our website. And here's a list of our upcoming and recently completed webinars. Alternative to these webinars, we do also offer a monthly 2-day on-site training course for system admins, and then another 2-day course for reporting. We cover certain topics in a bit more depth and just build up your skills and knowledge from there. If you would like any more information about this, please reach out to your account manager and they can go through the details of booking the course with you. So with today's topic being custom views, this means we'll be focusing on how you can create and update views, as well as then sharing views with other users. The agenda of this webinar consists of what views are and their different types, creating new views and updating existing ones, sharing these views with other users, and then generally some things to keep in mind to help you manage your saved views. I would like to note that this session is being recorded and will be sent to everyone after the webinar. So for those of you who aren't familiar with views, they're simply a saved way of displaying and filtering a list of records. Whether you select a record type from the start menu, such as organizations, people, opportunities, or even when you run a report, what you're looking at is a view. It's just presenting data in a particular format. The benefit of views is that they allow you to control which records you see, which columns are displayed, and how the information is organized. So the most common view is a grid view, which is just the default layout, which displays records in a format similar to Excel, with rows and columns, making it easy to scan, sort, and filter data. Then we have View as Calendar, which allows you to visualize things which are happening over time rather than just seeing dates in a list. Card View is particularly useful for when you only want to surface key information, for example, an opportunity value and stage without seeing every column. And then View as a Map allows you to view records geographically, for example, identifying customers within a certain mile radius. And then finally, View as Map and Grid combines both formats, splitting the screen so you can see the map alongside the detailed grid list. So I'm going to jump into Workbooks. There we go. So as mentioned, we're going to look at what views are, how to create and manage them, and then how to share them with other users. So I'll just start by showing you an example of each view. So if I go to Start, and then Organizations, you'll see this loads, and this is a grid view. Much like an Excel sheet, it's got columns and rows. It lets you just see your information, and you can always add more columns using the down arrow columns here. Then, if I wanted to see this as a map view, I would just go to View in the top right corner, and then click View as Map. Now I can see all of my organizations geographically. So now I'll go to Start and Activities, and I believe I saved it earlier. Yep. So it's already in a calendar view, so I can see what activities I've got going on. Activities will only appear within your calendar if you've included a start and end time. So I'll just open this demo to board one here. And within the activity, you can see that it's got a start time of 9 a.m. and finishes at 11 a.m., which is where it appears in the calendar. Then I will go to Start and People. And I will show off View as Cards from here, which allows you to quickly call or email people and just see key information. And this information is customizable. You are able to just configure View, which lets you edit the card itself. You can say, actually, I want to see who this person is assigned to, and you can just drag and drop that in there. Updates. Oh, and that had already added, I believe. There we go. And I can see that these are mostly assigned to me since it's my people. So let's create a new view. I'll go back to Start and Organizations. And let's go to all organizations just to work with the full data set. So our manager has asked me to identify organizations which have an industry of manufacturing, more than 300 employees. So I will add a column for industry. Pools manufacturing. And the number of employees is greater than 300. So that's now reduced the view to only be looking at 49 records, which meet that criteria. So you'll notice in the top right corner, currently it says match all. And this will be set by default, meaning that all criteria must be met. And you can always change this to match any. So I could say either industry equals manufacturing or number of employees is greater than 300. And the other option is custom, where you can add a bit more logic to say expression A and B is true, or expression C is true. But that can get a little bit complex. But anyway, I don't want to change that for now. I just want to have manufacturing companies with more than 300 employees. So I don't want to have to manually add those filters on every time that I access this view. So I will go to View and save this view as. And I'll give this a clear name just so I know what I'm looking for. So I'll say large manufacturing organizations. And click OK. So you'll now see that on the left here, a new view has appeared in the list, which means that I can return to this view with these filters already loaded whenever I need. But say I want to adjust this existing view. My manager has asked if I can now filter this even further to only include organizations with an annual revenue of over 7.5 million. I'll also expose this column in the report just so that we can see how much annual revenue each company has. There it is there. So upon ticking it here, it's now added the column. And I'll move that across next to the name because we want that to be nice and visible. So quickly add a filter from this column, which will automatically fill out to be that column. And then we wanted it to be greater than 7.5 million. Yep, apply that. So now we're only down to those 18 organizations, and I will just save this view, which has updated that large manufacturing organizations view that I just created. It's important to remember to save the changes that you make to each view. Otherwise, if I were to click into another view, such as all organizations, customers or prospects, and then come back to large manufacturing organizations, any changes that I had made and not saved would have been cleared. And it's important to remember that the changes you save are specific to your login and the view that you've created, unless you choose to save and then share this view with another user or a user group. Which brings me on to my next point. I would like to share this view with the rest of the sales team. So to share it, I will just go to the View button again in the top right, and then click Sharing at the bottom. So we can see that I own it, but it's also been shared with System Admin. System Admin will always be listed, but that doesn't mean that they actually get to see the view within their list of views. It will still need to be added manually by them to their views or shared them via another group. This is just the case because otherwise sysadmins will be flooded with everyone's views that they're creating. So I'll just go ahead and add salesperson. I'll just let them read the view. There we go. So just a few things to keep in mind when managing views. I would really recommend always using clear naming conventions. Try to be specific about what the view contains. Avoid creating too many similar views. If you find that you're creating lots of small variations, it might be worth reviewing whether filters can be adjusted instead. And you can always control which views actually appear in your list on the left here by clicking the cog icon, which lets you configure your views. From here, you can always choose to hide. So I don't want to see competitors, so I'll just untick that. Save and close. And that's already disappeared from the sidebar there. But I can always come back in here and show it if I'd like to. It's also really easy to reorder your views. So I'll just change it so the large manufacturing organizations view that I just created, I want that to sit under all organizations instead. And there we go, it's moved all the way to the top. And one final thing to remember is that views are dynamic. If new records meet your filter criteria, they'll automatically appear within the list. So if someone were to update an organization, and for it to be a manufacturing organization with more than 300 people with an annual revenue greater than 7.5 million, then it would also appear in the list, and there would be 19 items there, which is the same with if they're updated to no longer meet this criteria. They'll drop out of the view. So a little bonus thing that I can show you is you can add reports as views within this same landing page view area, also via the cog. You might have already noticed that there's an Add Report View button in the left here, which will allow you to add a new view. So I will add a report that I configured earlier called Organizations by Interests, and I'll just copy paste that into the view name, and I'm fine with that being last. So then you'll notice both in the configuration window and in the sidebar, it's got a slightly different icon. This is just to identify this as being from a report, but it will behave as if you've just run the report itself. And you'll only be able to add reports derived from that record type. So I'll close this and open the report here. And you'll notice it hasn't added any filters or anything. That's to be expected. And it only shows 27 records. That's because based on the report's criteria, it will only be showing this number of records. So it's important that you understand what the report is doing before you add it as a view. So I'll jump back into my presentation. So to recap, we looked at each type of view and how to change between them, explored how you can customize your view and display only the information you need, covered how to share views with other users and user groups, and then some best practices on how you can manage and organize your saved views. So let's see if we have any questions. So Rita wants to know, as a sysadmin, how can I add views created by other users? So as mentioned before, if a view has been shared with you just via the sysadmin group, this won't show automatically in your sidebar of views. But if you did want to add this, it would be available within the cog item where I added the report view. You would, as a sysadmin, see a lot more views than I saw, where you'd see all the other views that have been shared with sysadmin, and you would just need to click show, and then it would appear on your sidebar. Christoph asks, if I share a view with another user and they make a change to the filters and then save the view, will this impact my view? Yes. So when you share a view with another user or user group, you're sharing the whole view with them as if you're sharing a record. So any saved changes to that view will then impact how all the other users see that view. Sari asks, the link we received from the last webinar, mastering from layout designs, didn't have a recording attached. Can it be resent? Yes, thank you for raising that. I will check what happened there and make sure that it's resent after this webinar as well. Cool. And that seems to be it for questions for now. So if there are no more questions, our next webinar is part 2 of creating and editing form layouts, and this will be on March 11th at 4 p.m. GMT. Until then, if you do need help, please check out our knowledge base, and for support contacts, you can get a hold of the support team via the case portal. This will be the only way to reach out to the support team from the beginning of March, so please do check that you can access this and raise cases. You can access the portal via the help icon within your start menu. This looks like a question mark. And then finally, we do have some videos on our website on the following topics: end user training, reporting, importing, and system administration. You will also be able to find the recording for this webinar along with our past ones at the link on the screen and selecting webinar recordings. That is everything for this session. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.